Let's hear from the tariff-hating, tax-hating lobby group, the Taxpayers Union, now to hear their thoughts on this. Its campaign manager, Connor Molloy, joins us now. Thank you for your time, Connor. Where do you stand on these? Do you think that we need to get rid of these, abolish these tariffs? Is it going to be part of one of your campaigns?
Well, yeah, morning. Thank you for having me on the show. So the problem with tariffs is they are essentially just another tax, and this time it's a tax on imports. What this does is it raises prices for consumers. I take Tim's point from earlier that it's relatively small compared to what our tariffs used to be, but that doesn't mean they're insignificant. The economic costs of these tariffs in terms of increased compliance costs and those costs that get passed on to businesses that use those as imports, as inputs into their production and the like, all of these things drive up costs and slow down the economy. And so we think absolutely these tariffs are something that should be abolished. We should follow Australia's lead.
So are you lobbying Todd McClay, the Trade Minister, or the Revenue Minister, Simon Watts, to do something about it?
We haven't reached out to either of the ministers as of yet. I understand the Minister of Commerce, Andrew Bailey, is seeking advice on this, but it definitely is something that we'll be considering sending a letter to the Minister to encourage them to pursue this.
Have you looked at some of the tariffs on some of the bonkers items that we have in New Zealand, like the ones in Australia where, bamboo chopsticks or roller coasters or dodgems? Do we have any examples like that here?
One that springs to mind we have is ambulances. I think it's about a 10% tariff depending on where the country, which country it's coming on, which is obviously an issue. But then there's more basic products as well, like sunscreen and makeup, even school uniforms that'll put tariffs can put the price up on that. So I think while, if you look at the average, as Tim said, it's a small amount, on those products that particular people rely on, drives the cost up, not only through the actual tax itself, but also through reducing competition. If a country decides not to import to New Zealand because of the tariff, simply not making it worthwhile, the domestic producer or producers from countries that we do have free trade agreements with can actually charge slightly higher prices because there's one less competitor there. So in those specific areas where there is a tariff applied, consumers do pay higher prices, and we think it's nonsensical to keep them. They don't offer us any bargaining power.
Connor, are you telling me that St John, a charity, has got to pay 10% tariff if it imports an ambulance?
Well, I mean, tariffs are very difficult. I was having a look on the custom website. I'm not sure where St John gets their ambulances from. If they get them from a country where we don't have a preferential tariff rate of 0, then there will be a 10% tariff. But if they get it from a country where we have some kind of free trade agreement, then they won't be. So according to the law, depending where you import it from, there is one, but I can't say for certain with St John.
Do you think the government would entertain this idea at all, given they need every single dollar and cent they get from revenue at the moment?
The problem is we don't have a tax problem. The government collects more than enough tax. It's a spending problem. They've increased spending by 67% in the last 6 years. The government bureaucracy has ballooned by about $15,000. If the government is looking for some spare change behind the loose couch, an easy place to be would look to some of the subsidies for gaming industry and film subsidies and the like, and also cutting down on the size of the bureaucracy that's been allowed to grow.
Great, we've got to leave it there. Thank you very much, Connor. That is Connor Molloy, the New Zealand Taxpayer Union Campaigns Manager.
7:20 coming up.